Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my studio. I'd like to share with you something that I'm visualizing in this heat wave we're having down here in summer. And we're trying to stay cool, and what's more delicious, more fun to have when it's so hot, but watermelon. So I'm going to share with you how to make this little watermelon slice here. So what we're going to do is, I have 2 copies of the pattern. I'm not actually going to use both copies. I'm going to put this one over here for now. And I have these really pretty colors. This is bullseye glass. And this color, this green kind of stays true to itself. This pink here that looks kind of washed out actually strikes and becomes a really pretty solid watermelon color pink. Even though it looks streaky, it kind of strikes out and the entire thing becomes, pretty consistent. But my one concern is it's a little bit transparent. So if I put it on a clear base, I'm concerned that you might not get as much color out of it. So I'm going to cut a piece of white for the base glass, and then this for the watermelon part, this for the watermelon rind, and then I have this black right here for the watermelon seeds. So in order to do that, a lot of times I cut right over the pattern, but because this white glass is a little hard to see through, I'm going to, actually it's not hard at all, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and cut the paper pattern up with these scissors, just so I have better accuracy with my project. And I'm going to show you how you can use the pattern multiple times for the same project, so you don't have to cut up multiple patterns, and you don't have to number them, or, this has few enough pattern pieces that I'm not going to bother numbering them. I'm just going to lay them out in such a way that I know how it goes back together. So now we have this will be our base glass shape. I'm going to take this, put a little glue stick on there, glue it on the straight edge right here, take advantage of that. Now something I like to do is, rather than butt the glass up right to the edge over here, I give it a little space. If you give it a little space, you end up with a better cut there. The glass will break away more easily. If you put it right up to the edge, you're definitely going to have to grind that. If you give it a little space, you'll have a little less to grind. And I'm all for a little less to grind. Alright, so I want to try to retain as much of this extra glass as I can. So rather than starting over here and going around, if I go like this, the glass is going to break this way, then break this way. I want to try to keep this piece as big as possible. So I'm going to start over here and cut like that. Anytime we cut a curve, oops, fell into a little seed there, the glass wants to break straight. So in order to get it to break in a curve, we do it in a series of smaller, shallower cuts. Take my runners over here, break that away, come over here and break this away. There we go. And look how nicely that edge turned out because I gave it some room. And anytime you cut something with a circular shape, you're going to end up with these little points. That's fine. That's consistent with doing that kind of shape. I'll peel off these extra pieces so I have the least amount of material to grind when I get to the grinder. There we go. And now we're going to peel this paper off and we're going to use it again. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot to put the bite mark out. And that's what kind of gives it a charming little feel, is that someone already had a bite at this watermelon. Alright, so this is a good inside curve, so I'm going to do it in 3 steps. Because that way I have better success rate of getting the shape that I want and less breakage. There we go. Alright, there we go. Got a nice little bite out of there. Alright, we'll put this aside. I'm going to cut the pattern up again. Find my scissors. Here we go. Alright. We have 4 little pieces here. I'm going to keep them in the right orientation so I know they go back together. And then we're going to glue those on this pretty green glass. Now I'm going to take these little pieces that represent the rind of the watermelon, put a little glue on them, and glue them on the glass. Can't pick this one up. And by gluing them on the glass, it increases your accuracy with your pieces. So I can only really fit 2. Maybe if I squish this over, move this over a little bit, I can probably fit 3 on this piece. There we go, I can fit 3 on here, so that's nice. There we go. You can see that. Now these are kind of shallow curves. Oh, I need a little more glue on this one. Sticking to my finger instead of to the glass. There we go. Now this is 2mm glass, so it cuts a little more easily with a little less pressure. And it tends to cut truer, so that should make these cuts a little bit easier to handle. So first I'm going to just cut this excess away. There we go. I'll cut this inside curve. Cut this outside curve. Crazy, right? Doing different pieces at the same time. I'll use my runners because they're more reliable if I can use them. And look, I've got those pieces coming away there. And here I'm going to separate these 2. And then go back and do the detail work on these. Alright, here we go. Now the trick to a good score is to have consistent pressure beginning to end. Look how cute that is. So I want to make sure that I push down evenly from the beginning of my score to the end of the score. There we go. Got 2 out of 4. And I'm doing something here I don't really like to do, and that is nip my glass near my tools. I really like to have the extra glass nipped kind of away from my tools, because that's generally how you'll get cut, is by these little scraps ending up on your pliers, and you go to grab your pliers and end up with a little shard in your finger. And that's never fun. I'll put this one over here. Just separate it from the big glass. And now go ahead back in and do the detail work. Alright, going to complete the 4 cuts around here. Oh my goodness, I should have decided to work in a different part of the studio because I'm in this little corner here, because it's really the only place I have table space right now. But this is the warm section of the studio. Alright, so I've got 4 little green pieces. Very nice. This one has a little bump on it. I'm going to take my grozer to see if I can get that off of there. Yep, there it goes. Perfect. Alright, now for this piece, this big one, I'm going to glue it on. Now, bullseye glass has a little more texture than Spectrum, the Oceanside does. So you want to work on the smoother side because it's easier to cut. This one has a little bit of texture on both sides, so I think this side is going to be the easier one to work on. And I'm going to have to come over here a second, grab this dustpan, because this little piece of pink glass is pink. Pink means expensive. So I want to make sure there's no shards here when I cut this, because if I put it down a little shard, it could break right there. And this is a pretty good sized piece of glass I'm using here. So I want to make sure that I get this out the first time. Alright, so we start over here. Now I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. Come back over here. So I did this one in 2 big cuts. Grab here, just gently squeeze. Oh, see, that didn't come out quite the way it's supposed to, but that's all right. At least we got the shape that we wanted. And I'll go back in here and pull this out. Very nice. There we go. Cool, huh? And now we're going to take the little bite out. And again, because I'm concerned this piece is, you know, a little more costly, I'm going to do it in a couple of steps to ensure that I get the shape that I want and minimize the potential for breakage. Oh no! Look what happened. We might have to put a seed there. Oh, darn it. Inside I'm saying other words, but outside I'm just saying darn it. Oh boy, that's the beauty of glass, right? Okay, well, so we have options. We could still use it. Oh, look, it has a crack right here too. You probably can't see that. But there's a crack right here. And there. Oh man. I think I'm going to get a new piece. There. Now it's really broken. All right, I gotta climb the ladder and get a new piece because I don't want to sacrifice the quality of my work for a piece of glass that broke. Okay, so I have another piece of glass. Got it glued on. Let's hope that this one works well. I think what I'm going to do is a couple of extra steps to hopefully ensure that I get the shape that I want without it breaking. There we go. Over here. There we go. We've got these little tabs. Those are consistent with cutting circles. All right, now here's the tricky one. Let me sweep really well. Make sure there's nothing underneath this piece of glass when I cut it. Okay, we're going to go in deep. This time we're going to do 4 little cuts instead of just 3. And we're going to do 5 actually, maybe 6. I really want to make sure this one doesn't break. With these pieces, I guess we'll be making watermelon wedges. So we can have a whole series of watermelons. All right, let's pull out these little pieces here. Hope for the best. Hope that our technique and our planning and all these little extra cuts are going to work for us. And look at that. Success! Yay! All right, now we're going to take these pieces to the grinder. Oh wait, we have to do the seeds. Okay, so this goes on top of here, and then these little green pieces go around. This is going to be so cute. All right, so we're going to, let's see, I think I'm just going to cut seeds without a pattern. What the heck? I can do that. I'm going to cut a little strip about the right height. Cut that off. And then I'm going to cut kind of like long triangles. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know, seeds aren't perfect, so these don't have to be perfect. All right, there we go. So I've got these little triangles. Oops, little triangles. And then you just take your grozers and kind of nip these 2 corners to kind of make them like teardrops. Perfect. I don't even think I'm going to grind those. I'm just going to put those on as is. Oh, we're getting some rain and it smells so good. And hopefully it will cool things off in here. It already is cooling things off in here. All right, this don't want to let me grab it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to grind this. I don't have a paper pattern as reference here, so I'm just going to grind it wherever it looks rough and clean out this edge right here. I think that looks pretty good. Put this aside for a second. Now the pink one, I do have paper for a reference, so I'm going to grind to the point where I don't see any glass sticking out beyond the paper. See, there's a little bit right here, a little bit here. So I have a little more grinding to do on this one. Probably not too much on that top edge. If I don't grind this well enough, you know, if you think, oh, it's more watermelon, you could just leave it. If I don't grind it well enough, then these pieces aren't going to fit well. So I want to make sure that I don't have any glass sticking out beyond this paper when I'm done. So in some areas where I have a little more material right here, I'm going to stay a little longer and go back and forth a little bit. All right, see, there's no glass sticking out. Oh, right there, a tiny bit. Let's get that on. All right, so no glass sticking out beyond the paper. So that looks good. Now I'm going to grind these little guys, And then we'll take this back over to the table and assemble it together. So I'm going to dry this piece off. I just ground it, got all the pieces fitting, well, I think they're fitting nicely, but what I'm going to do is actually build it on top of this kiln shelf. Now something you can do to make your kiln shelf, if you're going to build on top of your work area, something you can do to make your kiln shelf easier to pick up is put a couple of small kiln posts underneath it. And then it's really easy for you to get your fingers under it once it's heavy and has the glass on there, so you're less likely to tip the glass or move it in such a way that the glass falls off your project or off your shelf, which is never good. Now this shelf has already been used, so I need to cut a piece of shelf paper. This is papyrus, and I'm going to cut a piece to put on here because I'm going to take this to a full fuse. So what I'm going to do is take the pattern and kind of use it as a guide. So I cut a piece that's big enough, but not too big because I don't want to waste my papyrus. Let's fold it again this way so we get a better idea. I can't really see through the paper. So I just want to make sure that there's like about, you know, a ½ inch or so extra paper on all sides of my pattern, of my artwork. Cut that off, place this here, there we go. All right, now I don't want to put my glass on there when it's wet because it'll distort the paper. And so I'm going to move these pieces around, move this out of the way. Here's my white piece. Now when I grind my glass, I try to use plenty of water to keep the dust down, and then I also use the water to remove any residue from the glue stick that might be on there. So I'm going to get that nice and clean. Make sure the back side is good and dry. There we go. I'll place that down on the middle of this shelf. And I'm going to bring this a little closer to myself so I can see as I'm assembling the art to make sure that it fits nicely. Alright, now I'm going to take my little green pieces, move those out of the way. There we go. And here's my watermelon piece. I'll make sure that it doesn't drip on my shelf or my paper. So kind of drying that off over here. Now this is bullseye glass, and I use oceanside glass most of the time. So I have a special spot in my bin for this glass, and I have a sign on there indicating where it is. And I've used this glass. I've got a pile of my cutoffs right here, and look what I did. I put 90 right on the glass. And as soon as I'm done with this project, I'm going to put this pile away back in the bin with the other 90 COA material. Even if you know your own studio and you know your material, it's very easy to get distracted and confused and what material is what. You don't want that to happen. So best to keep it really well marked, and when you're done with one material, put it away, and then take it out, use it, and put it away again. I'm going to put this pink on here. Oh look, that's fitting beautifully. And here are my little green pieces, which I did not number. So it's going to be hit or miss as to whether or not these fit and where they fit. We're just going to go for wherever they fit best. Make sure they're good and dry, no glue on there. That one looks like it might need a little touch up. So maybe we'll try a different one there. That one looks pretty good. Now the paper just gets thrown away. So, the pattern method is a little more effort for you while you're assembling, but it does make for a much more accurate project. So I don't like the way that one fits there. In theory, I should be able to put these green ones in any one of those 4 places. They should be the same. They should be identical. So I draw my designs on a program called the Glass Eye 2000. And so you just draw a circle, and then you draw another circle inside of a circle, and so you make your borders and everything very rapidly, quickly, and very accurately. All right, I got a little space in there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Some of that white's going to peek through, and that's okay. And here are my little seeds, which I did go ahead and grind those just because I had them at the grinder. And oh, this is just coming out so adorable. Now check out this pink. See how it's kind of, shaded, darker here, darker here. After this fires, this comes out kind of all one color. It's really cool. So when you buy glass, oh, there's a little bit of glue here. I need a sponge or something wet. I'll get that in a second. We'll get that off before we put it in the kiln. But so when you buy your glass, you need to pay attention to, how it's going to react in the kiln, what color it's going to be. So this glass is called a striker. It strikes a different color. These black seeds look so good on here. They're such nice high contrast. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I lost a seed somewhere along the way. Let's see. No, not under there. Okay. Oh, it's over by the grinder. I'll pick that up on the way over. All right, there we've got our little seeds on there. And I'm quite pleased with the way this looks. So we're going to take it over to the kiln, load it, and fire it to a full fuse temperature. Hi, welcome back to the studio. As you can see, it's summer here in Florida, very hot, and I am really looking forward to seeing this project come out of the kiln because I believe just the look of it is going to cool me off. So let's open the kiln and see what we have here today. Oh boy, very exciting. It came out spectacular. And remember, I was missing one of my little seeds. I had left it over by the grinder. Well, I found it, and so I have a nice little odd number of seeds, and this just came out so pretty. Wow, look at that pink color. Isn't that amazing? Now I've got, of course, my towels on the other side of the table. But look, I'm really pleased with the way it came out. Nice high contrast colors, beautiful pink. The green is very delicious looking, and the seeds are just awesome. Now, something about the seeds. You notice how they're a little bit bigger than the size they were when I cut them? That's because when the glass melts, it flattens out, and as it flattens out, it becomes bigger. Think of a chocolate chip cookie. You know, the dough. You put a lump in the oven, and then it goes down and spreads out. Glass does the same thing. So if you want your seeds to look a little daintier, a little smaller, you want to undersize them when you cut them, because when they melt down, they're going to spread out a little bit and become bigger. I find that very true when I'm cutting tree trunks, and I want them to be really thin. I always cut them a little thinner than I really want visually because they spread, and then you get these huge wide tree trunks that maybe you don't want. So I'm really pleased with the way this came out, and we have a white background, so it's nice and opaque. So I think we've done a lot of things lately on stands. We've done things that are bowls. So this time we're going to do something different. We're going to display this differently. We're going to actually put a sawtooth hanger on the back so you can hang it on the wall in the kitchen. And I think that'll be a delicious way to use this. I want to show you the difference in the glass over here. Look at the glass that we used for the pink area. Look how different that is. How the color changed, and it went from being wishy-washy and not uniform and pale and transparent. Now it's on white, so that's why it's opaque now. But look at how the color really evened out and became a lot bolder. It's really, really fun to work with that, provided you know what you're going to get, of course. All right, so we're going to turn this over, and I'm going to take my tape measure and measure across as 8 inches, which is perfect because that's what it's supposed to be. I'm going to find the center and put a little dot. Now the sawtooth hanger has this little dot right here that represents the center of the hanger. Now you want to make sure that these two flanges are nice and flat on the table because you want good contact with the glass and the glue so that it's really strong. I'm going to open my glue, maybe. All right, so the glue is glued shut. So I need these pliers to open it up. I'm using my good old trusty E6000. Put a little dab of glue on here, dab of glue on here. I don't have to worry about being too neat on this one because it's going to be on the back of the art and no one's ever going to see it. So place that on there, lining that up with the center. This dot with that little dot that I have on there so that it hangs evenly on the wall. Put the cap back on there. And I'm really looking forward to hanging this piece on the wall in my kitchen. Matter of fact, I was just telling Nikki that this little piece here might inspire a whole series of fruits. We have like a whole little randomly placed kind of different fruits in the kitchen. I have a very colorful kitchen, so more color makes me very happy, so love it. So you guys kind of inspired this piece, summer and getting creative and doing things a little differently, something more, you know, easy, but following a pattern, so we have a definite plan and following a color scheme and everything. So great, I'm really enjoying making all these different pieces for you for these videos that we're doing. So thank you so much for joining me. Please consider joining my membership where you get 1 to 2 videos per month and we have brand new stuff coming out. Really excited about making it all out here for you. So please like, subscribe, follow, share, all the above. Send us your comments. We love it. We love hearing from you and getting feedback so that we know that you're enjoying what we're doing as much as we're enjoying presenting it for you. So again, thanks for joining me. I'm feeling cooler already with this watermelon. Can't wait to have a slice myself. Anyway, until next time, happy fusing.